Good morning, I'm Brian Davenport reporting live from Tompkins Square Park for Push Culture News. This morning we're bringing you a Push Culture weather report. It's an awful day in New York City, and we want to show you how to get geared up to stay skating. So what do you do when you wake up in the morning and the weather sucks, like today? Well, you got three options. Your first option is stay inside and be lame. That's no fun. Your second option is go outside, trash your gear, and get soaked. Third option, the push culture way. One of the first things that comes to mind, obviously, is I'm destroying my bearings. And you probably are, unless you're using a product like Skanunu that's going to keep your bearings lubricated, it's going to keep the water out, and it's going to clean them. It's also very easy to use. You don't have to fully disassemble your bearings like with a standard cleaning process. What this does is it gets down in there, and the chemistry in this bottle takes everything, pushes it out, it lubes it up, and it keeps it moving. The next thing that you're going to need if you're going to go skating on a day like today is some waterproof gear. There's all kinds of options and all kinds of price ranges. I know you can't all afford the most expensive fancy waterproof gear, so go out and get whatever you can get. A $5 poncho is going to work, but what you're trying to do is stay dry. Because if you stay dry, you're going to stay warm. Speaking of staying warm, you got to keep your feet warm. If your feet get wet, they're not going to be warm. This right here is the Element Omaha. It's the only waterproof skate shoe that I've come across. I've been wearing this pair for a while now, and they're getting pretty flat. I only wear them in the rain, but you know how that happens. So one thing you might want to try is riding something like a hiker shoe. Something with a little tread on the bottom. The tread is going to get into the muck and get into the snow and the water, and it's going to grab onto the road a little bit better. One other thing to be conscious of is what board you choose to ride. I know not everybody has more than one board, and that's cool too. If you do, you might want to keep this in mind. If you have your wheel wells cut out, the wheels are simply going to throw everything right onto you, onto your legs and onto the top of the board. So a better option is a top mount with some wheel well coverage. What it's going to do is keep your wheels under the board. You're going to end up splashing everything on the road onto the bottom of the board instead of onto yourself. Another wet road tip, ride grooved wheels. It's easy enough to do. You can make them yourself. And what it's going to do is get more contact on the road so you have better grip. Speaking of, this is Theseus Williams. He won the Broadway Bomb in 2008. He also took second place at the first ever Adrenalina Skateboard Marathon down in Florida. Theseus, what do you know about grooving wheels?
Well, quite a bit actually.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I've been trying to kind of experimenting with a wheel, kind of redefine it. And what I've come up with is a series of wheels, and today I'm using these sludge cutters, which are just similar to what Brian's been doing, but I've been going a little bit more extreme. Deep groove in the middle, two not so deep grooves on the side, and then rounded corners to enable that grip. And what I'm finding with a combination of this and then my normal cut wheel, which is just a little different than Brian's, I round the edges a little bit because I get that Gillette razor factor. 1, 2, 3, I get 3 chances to get that grip, and it really works for my weight. But at the same time, they slide like butter. Whereas
you want a rain wheel to grip, but on dry roads you might want your wheel to slide. How do you have the best of both worlds?
Well, it's funny you should mention that. What we have is the U right there in the middle. Instead of a straight groove that you might make with a normal tool with just straight edges, you do that little bit of a V or a U shape, round the edges, and what you have is this kind of accordion mushroom thing going on, you know? But if you round the edges a little bit, that little bit of give is always going to maintain some sort of grip. And the really good sliders that can slide really well and control their slides, they can just lift off a little bit and release that grip, and all of a sudden the wheel will slide. So it gives you a lot more control in dry and wet conditions. One thing I do like to point out is you can get all geared up all you want, have the best waterproof everything, or there's nothing wrong with good old-fashioned determination. Just get dressed and go out there and be hardcore like Theseus Williams. Word. Well, all right, man. All right, buddy. Thanks for coming by, Theseus. Thanks, buddy. We'll see you around. Later. Ride safe, stay dry. Another wheel option you have is the Land Yacht Aqua Hog. It's a rain wheel produced with these grooves already put in them. So if you got the coin, spend it on some fancy rain wheels. Wood boards. Wood absorbs water. It's a problem when you're skating in the rain. There's a couple of things that you can do about it. One quick tip, before you head out, spray your board down with WD-40. For those of you who don't know, the WD in WD-40 stands for water displacement. So it's going to keep the water off of the surface for the time being.
Another option, same idea, a little more durable, is before the wet season starts, put a fresh coat of lacquer on your board. A really, really thick one. Just soak it on there and let it dry, and then you should have a fairly waterproof layer around your skateboard. Although, as you see, you do scratch it up and you're gonna wear it down. All right, so this has been your Push Culture News weather report on an awful weather day. Thanks for joining us. Just to recap, you want to make sure you keep your bearings clean and dry. Use Skununu bearing lube and cleaner. It's awesome. You want to make sure that your wheels are going to grip the road. You can groove your wheels. You can buy your own grooved wheels. You also want to make sure that you have waterproof clothing, jacket, pants, waterproof shoes. Make sure you have a board that's not going to put you in a bad position in an inclement weather condition. I'm Brian Davenport for Push Culture News. Thank you for joining us. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't already. And go out there and enjoy your winter. Don't sit it out this year.